80s and receiving students. Thank you. Sit down. Class, in our previous lesson, what did we look at? Yes, Ruben.
3D shapes.
Very good, 3D shapes. To the receiving students, teachers, and ATs, today this lesson is based on a new substrand called directions. This is a new lesson to this substrand. To the receiving teacher, you can integrate this substrand with other subjects like social science. Class, today our lesson topic is on reading scales on maps. 80s and receiving students, when we look at the phrase there, reading scales on maps, now, what can we say the word scale is? What is scale? So, to help us understand more about scale, we are going to focus our minds onto the map. We are going to refer or think of scale which is used on a map. Now, to the receiving teacher, in the previous lesson you were advised to find a PNG atlas, primary school atlas, ready for this lesson. So can you get all the materials prepared before the lesson starts? So, class, on your table, you will see a PNG primary school atlas. I would like you to open that atlas to page number 43. To the receiving teacher, please you do the same by telling your students to open the PNG primary school atlas to page number 43. 80s and receiving students, we are going to do a small activity to help us understand or define the word scale, or how we can understand about the word scale. Now, this is our activity. We should have a map in front of us. The atlas open to the page that I have asked you to open to, which is on page 43. And you should have a map looking like this on the screen. Okay? Now, our activity is we are going to find the distance on the ground between Wewak and Port Moresby. The scale that we are going to use is on the atlas, page 43. When you look at the scale reads 1 centimeter on the map measures 100 kilometers on the ground. So you are going to measure the distance between Wewak and Port Moresby. Okay, I will give you 1 minute to find the actual distance on the ground between those two towns. You can start now. Ladies and receiving students, our time is up. Let's check our answer. What is the distance on the map? After you have measured the distance on the map between those two provinces, Wewak and Port Moresby, what is the distance on the map that you have come across? After you have found the distance on the map, then you're going to convert that distance to the distance on the ground. So what is our answer for the distance on the map? Let's say Celia's group. What was the distance on the map between Wewak and Port Moresby?
7.6 centimeters.
7.6 centimeters. Good. Any more different answers? Yes, Katrina.
7.5.
Okay, class, put your hands up if you have got 7.5 centimeters. Good, group. And DRS, what measurement have you got? Samuel's group. 7.6 centimeters. Okay, good. Now, if you have got 7.6 centimeters, then what will be the real distance on the ground? Samuel?
The distance on the ground will be 760 kilometers.
Very good. The distance on the ground will be 760 kilometers. If you have got the measurement on the map, 7.6 centimeters, then on the ground it will be 760 kilometers. If you have got the measurement on the map 7.5 centimeters, you will get the distance on the ground 750 kilometers. Now, this is how we can work out the answer for converting the bigger unit to the smaller unit to the bigger unit, or finding the unknown number. Class, look on the board. Okay, this working out was taken when the distance on the map was 7.5 centimeters. Okay? Now, if you were asked to find the distance on the ground, then you're going to convert the smaller unit to the bigger unit. So, first, our scale reads 1 centimeter is equals to, 1 centimeter is to 100 kilometers. 1 centimeter on the map measures 100 kilometers on the ground. Now, we have the measurement on the map, which is 7.5 centimeter. Then we don't know the distance on the ground. So we represent that unknown distance with a letter X. So we multiply the inner numbers, which are 100 times 7.5. These are the interior numbers. And then the exterior numbers are 1 and letter X. So 1 times X. So when you multiply 100 times 7.5, you will get 750. And 1 times X is equals to X. So the value of X is equals to 750. And the actual distance on the ground is 750 kilometers. 80 and receiving students, is that clear? Okay. Now, if your measurement was 7.6 centimeters on the map, then you can apply the same step to this one on the chart. The same working out style. Is that clear? Okay. Class, so by now we should understand that the scale is the relationship between or the relationship between a given distance on a map to the distance on the ground. So that's the understanding of what is scale. Okay? To the receiving teacher, in the main part of the body, I am going to use the strategy called jigsaw. Class, we are going to do more activities based on how to read scales on the maps. It is, we are in our 10 groups. The first row has 5 groups, and the second row has another 5 groups. This is how we are going to divide ourselves. The first group, there are 5 of you, and on your table you have a letter. A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? Each group, each student will have a number. For example, group A, this student number 1 is known as student A1. Okay, the second student will be known as A2, third student will be known as A3. Same goes to this group. This group is group B, so the first student will be known as B1, second student B2. Okay, the next group, group C. So the first student will be C1, second student will be C2, and it goes on. So you are all in your groups. Okay. Those groups are known as home groups. It is, are we listening? Okay, this is how we're going to do the activity. I am going to tell you to move to your working groups. Richard, I am going to tell you to move to your working groups. Now, group A, group B, group C, group D, they are known as working groups. Group A is known as working group number 1. Group B table is known as working group number 2. Group C table is known as working group number 3. And group D, working group number 4. And group E, working group number 5. That goes to the same with the other row on the other side. Okay? Is that clear? Now, what you are going to do is you're only going to pick up your rulers plus your student workbook and move to those working groups when I ask you to move. Is that clear? Now, get ready. Before I move you to your groups, I would like to call upon all the group leaders to come up in front and collect the card numbers from the table. So, all the group leaders come up. Group A. You have B. Give one card to your friend. A. C. C. B. A. D. E. D. Okay. Who's your group leader? Why did you get A? Who got this one? Are you A group? You find, check with the D group there. There. Your card is there. Give to them. Okay. Class, listen. Now, when you move to those working groups, each member of each group will have a task to play. You are going to go to those groups to work on a question. After you finish working on that question in that group, you are going to return to your own group and you are going to share what you have found out in that working group. Is that clear? For example, Cecilia will be telling her group members what she has found out from the working group after they have finished the activity in that working group. Is that clear, it is? Okay. Likewise, I said, don't take the question papers or the atlases, you leave them on the table. You just take your card number plus your ruler and the pencil and the workbook. With that, class can move now. Your row, your row, your row, you should move in this way. A4, who's A4 here? Okay, sit down. Good. Class, are we listening? Okay. I said the first row, you move according to your rows, okay? If you are group A from first row, you move on this row only. If you are from the second row, group A, you move to this row only. So when you get back, you move back to your own table in the same row. So if you are from this row, you don't have to go to another row. Is that clear? Okay, so let's start. You should be working on each question, discussing the answers in the work groups with your friends.
Kione, iya.
Try Loreng kau nama dia.
Lain.
Just try to.
No aten.
Wani mana lawan kau?
One in place. Try one ten. One in.
Wild dog ya. Bikin tu. Emang one sana. Rabau.
No, I didn't mention.
Ini saya. Emang masih nilai na lawan kau. Just bikin tu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wani na wani.
Alixima. Emang ni, iya.
Yeah, money.
Kimbenas, Simbevi.
Yeah. Okay, then go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, try. Never
Okay,
bound.
okay, okay. Putih kan, putih. Putih dia bisa. Ini. Okay, come on. Come on.
Usan dia pasal.
Come on, tap. Come on, tap. Come on, tap. Come on.
Movie one.
Okay. Five. Little black mark here. And 5 point. Putih.
5.3.
3. Liri mo mulai lento.
Try rubber naira one. No.
560.
And 5.8. No. point. 5 point. 5 point. Naroon.
It is, as soon as you are in your own group, you should be discussing to your group members what you have found out in the working group. To a receiving teacher, you can also move your students back to their own groups, and they should be discussing in their own groups what they found out from the working groups. Share your answers already. Already found the last answer. Let's share your answers. Professor, you're working on. Okay. Did you share to your friends what you have found? Show your answers to your friends. Discuss. No. You don't use the workbook. I said use the atlas. This map is smaller than only. Yeah. 0.6. Are you sure? Where? Show me. Kurang tu kundiawan.
Kundiawan to Goroka. 1.5.
0.6. Okay. 0.6. Class, sit up straight. Let's go through some of the activities. Okay, let's look at group letter B. Letter B. Christina, could you give the answer for question number 1? It says use the above given scale to find the distance between the following towns in kilometers. A. Port Moresby to Lorengau.
kilometers.
830
30 kilometers.
kilometers. That's for exercise 1A. Good? Okay, Samuel, can you give me the distance between Daru and Kerema?
310 kilometers. 310 kilometers.
310 kilometers. Very good. Now let's have the last one from Celia's group. Look at question number 1, letter C, from Alotau to Wabek.
910 kilometers.
Very good. 910 kilometers. Okay, class. For the other letters, you can check your other friends and see the distance they've found out from the working groups. To the receiving teacher, you can go through the other questions with your students after the end of this lesson. 8As and receiving students. So by now we should know that scale is the relationship between a given distance on a map to the distance on the ground. So our key phrase for today's lesson is reading scales on maps. To the receiving teacher, the next lesson will be on reading symbols and keys on maps as well. So please, if you haven't found a PNG primary school atlas, you can use the student workbook to continue on with the activity. And for the next lesson, you also have to use the PNG atlas to work on the activities. With that, thank you all for taking part in today's lesson.